Welcome back to SCUR version 2.2. This is the third update of version 2 of SCUR. Is that an orange dolphin? I can't believe that dolphin was orange. I swear. It still is. I'm confused. Either way, here we are on the title screen because there is a new logo. As you can see, it's just simply the more HD version of the logo that I believe appears on the launcher and also the website now as well. So kind of an update on the old school logo. This is a lot higher quality. I believe it's a 2000-bit wide texture as opposed to a 500-bit wide, so it is a lot more high definition. My only issue with it is it is a little bit off center, but I figured out kind of what it's going to take me to fix that, and it's going to take a while, so I'm just going to do it at some point in the future. That'll be in a future update, but there you go, just as a little test there. The Minecraft logo has been updated. So moving on from that, with the actual textures in-game, just going to load into the world here. There have been quite a number of updates in this pack, most of which are model and MC Patcher style updates. First of all, we have the jukebox. As you can see here, the jukebox now has this really, really nice 3D model with a little, I believe it's called an arm, or like a needle. Is it called a needle? A jukebox, like a record needle, you know? But it makes sense anyway, because this is where the diamond comes in with the jukebox, you know? I feel like that makes a lot more sense now. That's where the diamond is on the crafting recipe. And when it has a CD in it, of course, any of the CDs, you also get this little CD graphic as well. As you can see there, comes on and comes off again. And now Area Math is going to be playing in the background. Wonderful. So moving on from that, we have BlingEdit. BlingEdit is a really, really nice addition to Minecraft, created by Seth Bling. It's basically like an in-game world. I'm going to get like a copyright strike or some shit. It's basically like an in-game world edit. It's actually ridiculously good. If I take the BlingEdit wrench here, as you can see, you can right-click one area, right-click another area, and you get this kind of like zone like this, and then you can just simply fill it in, and you can do set block, and then I can just fill it with, say, for example, sand, and there you go, boom, you just filled that entire area room with sand. I think it's amazing, and all this really is a carrot on a stick that's been renamed to BlingEdit. Now, usually the carrot on the stick renamed to BlingEdit is just simply a carrot on a stick. I've made a CIT type recipe, which I think works out so perfectly, which is where when the wrench, well, I say wrench, when the sword or carrot on a stick is called BlingEdit, it gets this new texture. So the diamond sword gets a blue wrench, and the carrot on a stick rather fittingly gets an orange wrench. Now, moving on with this theme, I decided to transfer this over to the debug stick as well. So the debug stick, as you can see here, is now a red wrench. I think red fits well for the debug stick, I don't know why. But usually the debug stick uses the exact same texture as the stick. Now, this isn't CIT, this is actually models. It turns out the debug stick has its own separate model path to the regular stick. It just happens to be the kind of file path is set up so that it uses the same texture. So I've simply just made a new file for the debug stick's model and created an entirely new texture for it as well. So that's where that comes into it. Or CMT has been removed. This is more so from, well, popular request, I guess, basically. I've been showing a lot of people this pack recently, and every single person who uses it seems to come back to me and says, what are you thinking with that or CMT? It's so weird. And to be honest, it is really, really strange. I would use it, but I think the thing that ruins it for me personally is the fact that when you have these blocks in a big ore cluster, it's only the edge ones that have the kind of other blocks seeping onto them. It works great in concept, but in practice, it's not very good, which is a shame, really. Moving on from that, I have a fix to the very, very long-lasting ladder problem. There has been a problem in this pack that's lasted for ages. I can think back ages this has been in the pack. But what this essentially is an issue with the ladder model, where these little squares are, where the rungs and the ladder frame sort of intersected. There was basically like a texture issue there. I simply fixed this by just moving all of the rungs back a pixel, if that makes any sense. And I wish that this was my work, but unfortunately I am absolutely rubbish at designing models. Models? There you go, that just kind of proves it, doesn't it? Models. So these textures are actually taken from a pack called 3D Craft, and they will, of course, be quoted in the description. Of course, it is an original texture, and the file paths have been changed around a little bit to suit me, and I have actually reused this for Quark's textures as well. So it's kind of changed enough to the point where I don't feel bad for stealing it, but this is someone else's work, basically. So thank you, 3D Craft, for, you know, this. In general. Moving on from that, we have more CIT stuff. You can see there's this kind of a CIT theme with this pack as well, which I'm absolutely fine with. Some of you, if you have been watching my content for a long time may recognize this, but I wouldn't be surprised even slightly if none of you do, which is absolutely fine and kind of fair enough as well. But these are Lugia Veltal's item textures. Now, he made these back in, like, Jesus, 1.7, maybe 1.8. And I think that's absolutely mad to think that. But these are his textures for his diamond tools and his bow. As you can see here, the bow is fully animated as well. So as I pull that back, it has a new texture for each and every frame, which I think is really, really cool. And we have that for the hoe, the axe, the shovel, the pickaxe, and of course the sword. And I think the sword actually looks really, really nice as well, to be honest. I think the sword's easily the best one of all of these. I just think it looks really, really cool. And now you get all these textures by naming the items certain things. So I actually went back and watched a few episodes of Cold Flame on Lugia's channel. And he actually gave me permission to use these items as well, which I was really cool with. So thank you very much, Lugia. He actually sent me the files as well, because his Dropbox was actually out of date. So he sent me all the updated files, which I've now used in the pack as well. So if you name the items certain things, such as Pepe the Eternal, Meme Miner, Speedy Pepe, Hacks, Your Mum, and Meme in Pieces, then you get all these new items. Now that isn't me just being childish or anything. I mean, I would name my items this because I am childish, but in Cold Flame he actually had these names or similar names to all of these for his items, so it's technically accurate. Technically. He also had another thing called the Stone Dagger, which I thought was quite cool. And again, this is just a simple renaming of a stone sword. It becomes a stone dagger. Now, in his pack, the stone sword was just simply replaced by this texture. But again, I'm just kind of giving the option to have a dagger instead of a sword. And that's kind of how he had it. Now, in addition to the Meme in Pieces bow, I kind of got into the idea of doing bows quite a bit because I realized how easy it was to do this animation texture. I would have thought this would be really hard, creating these 3 different frames for when the bow is being pulled back. It's surprisingly easy because Optifine has that feature built in. I guess they kind of, you know, they had the ability, they kind of had the foresight to realize that bows would be a pain to get to work. So they just created a simple function which only works for the bows. It's literally designed for the bow texture. So I decided to make a compound bow because I think compound bows are awesome. I used to be a huge fan of Arrow. Not anymore. I probably stopped watching Arrow about 2 or 3 years ago now, but at the time it was amazing. And Arrow and Flash, I watched them as they came out and they were really, really good. I don't watch them anymore, unfortunately, but this is a compound bow and it's the same concept. It's just a bow that looks like a compound bow instead of a regular bow, and again it's animated as you'd expect, which I think is really nice. I think it looks really good. And of course you get this by naming the bow compound bow as well. So anyway, that was version 2.2 of SCUR. Download link will be in the description and on my website as usual. Please do rate, comment, subscribe, donate to my Patreon, like my Twitter and Facebook and Reddit, thumbs up my Tumblr account, go follow me on Duolingo, yeah. Bye.